think that it took me moving to Indonesia for 4 months to realize that no one really knows all of me. My name is Lauren. I'm a senior in college. This is my last semester, which is crazy. I've been making videos for a while. Summer of 2022, I started my podcast, and it's just been rebranded, rebrand to rebrand to rebrand to rebrand to rebrand. So yeah, if you're interested in travel vlogs, psychology, interviews with professors, with designers, with chefs, with literally anyone that might come along my way. If you're interested in think pieces like the one that we will dive into today, give me a sub. Join. Let me know if you like this. Let me know if you absolutely hate it and I just wasted so much of your time. Let me know how you are today. Because today I'm feeling pretty pensive. Title of this video is Am I Used to Being Alone? And I've actually been asking myself this question a lot the past few months, because if you follow me like on Instagram, or if you know me, you know that I studied abroad from September to December of 2024 in Indonesia, and I traveled Asia a little bit, and you know, not everyone gets to do that. Sometimes people do get to do that, and there's probably like a bunch of content on the internet about people doing that, but to me that was a little wild to be going on the other side of the world like that. I've been thinking about it a lot because I've been moving around my whole life. Like, Asia was such a step, but traveling itself isn't new to me, and moving around isn't new to me. My family's from Venezuela. I was born in Miami. I grew up in New York, and I moved around so much in New York. Like, I've never really had like a childhood home. Like, I have one that I can think of that kind of like solidified or grounded my baby childhood ages, but I really don't have one of those. And for, I would say, my whole life up until I think this point, I've been fine with it. And not that I'm not fine with it now, but it's kind of just been more salient to me that not everyone just be moving around. Like, I'm telling you, I've moved around so much between Miami and Venezuela, between Venezuela and New York, within New York, like several times. And then I went to high school in Connecticut, and now I go to college in St. Louis. And frankly, I have no clue where I'm gonna be at. Oh, yeah, went to Indonesia for 4 months. And now I have no clue where I'm gonna be at the next 3 years because I want to go to law school. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. So no, I don't think my lack of, I don't think that people not knowing me that well, or as well as they might think, or as well as I might think, it's from design or from avoidance. At least consciously, it hasn't been like an avoidance thing. But how could anyone really know every part of me if I just continuously move and develop new sides to myself every single space that I occupy, and new versions to just confront these environments that I live in? I once had a friend, a best friend growing up. I mean, we're still friends, we're still cool. And I bet if she watches this, she'll end up knowing that it's about her. We became friends in like 3rd grade. It was a thing, like, if you saw her, you saw me. If you saw me, you saw her. Like, we was like this, like dead ass like sisters. My family personally isn't one to like be super neighborly, at least not in New York. Like, we weren't going to block parties, we didn't really know our neighbors like that. But me and her, like, we just went together. And Jesus, what am I doing? If you're watching this for the what I'm saying, okay, not what I'm doing. Ignore what's happening here, please, because I don't want comments, because I don't know what I'm doing. As time passed by, and as middle school passed, long story short, I did this really strenuous, hard, rigorous, hardest thing I've done in my life program in middle school called Prep 9. And that was about like 7th, 8th grade. And that kind of just made me very busy. And we just ended up filling up different social circles. And we kind of just, as time passed and grew apart, we just ended up living different lives, you know? Like, I had that program, but I also had Regents. Like, if you're from New York, you know, Regents classes or whatever in middle school. I just like had occupied a lot of social circles. Like, I had been friends with like the smart, nerdy kids in my Regents classes, but also like the super street, like, why are we doing this young? Like, we're only 13, 14 years old ass kids. Like, I was friends with the athletes because I played rugby. I had my friend circle from jujitsu classes because I did jujitsu too. Like, I was just involved in a lot of things and knew a lot of people. And I think she naturally was just a little bit more closed off in that sense. I just was spreading myself way too thin, and that's honestly a big character flaw of mine. Like, I just spread myself way thinner than I can ever actually manage. She was just the person that I felt like knew me more than anyone, you know, like she knew me as a kid. You know, to this day we have, our friendship runs like 13 years deep or something, but we're just not that tight anymore, so it's weird cognitive dissonance. And I regret us falling apart, because we didn't fall apart, we just grew apart. I regret us growing apart the way that we did. I think recently my reflection on it has just been very existential, like, fuck, we're getting old. Eventually we graduated middle school. I had gotten to my acceptance into my elite prestigious preparatory school in Connecticut, and all my friends from home knew where they were going in New York. Unless you're going to a private school for high school or specialized school, you're going to go to the one that you're zoned in. So you kind of already know the like where you're gonna end up for the next 2 years. Bayside, Cardozo, Francis Lewis, Martin Van Buren, like they were all expected and they were all known things except for Taft. But yeah, this is where I think I began to just spread myself even further and low-key thinner. My best friend had found another best friend, and my other friends had cemented themselves deeper into their friendships, into their respective groups and demographics or whatever. Because I wasn't really around anymore because of high school, it kind of come into the video. Speaking of prestigious elite,
I don't think I fully reconciled with it until after I graduated.
yeah, I'm not reconciling with it until like now.
That's fair. I've kept the same 3 friends from middle school, and they've always been very like starry-eyed at the idea of going to boarding school.
Starry?
Yeah, like a scholarship, and like they think it's so cool to be around so many rich people. But I feel like they also, I don't know, I went to a school with a bunch of kids who like, you know, also went to high school and financial aid type shit. Like even if it was just like Catholic school.
Yeah.
So I think they also understand. It's like when I told them like, you know, rich people are scary, and they'd be like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
So it's just that I don't think they've ever had to like deal with that type of wealth either.
Do you think it was like,
Until they got to college, probably.
do you think it was weird for yourself to be not part of New York anymore? Being in, what was that, Massachusetts?
Yeah. Like when you say New York, what are you referring to?
Like your childhood friends or friendships, connections in New York. Like for example,
Yeah, I definitely dropped a lot of people that I'm really glad I never talked to now.
So it was like a weeding them out type of thing.
Yeah.
Like it was cathartic. It wasn't like,
Yeah, I definitely didn't do a good job staying in touch with the ones that I still stay in touch with now, though. And I see them infrequently. But when we do, that's never really an issue. You know what I mean?
do you feel like anyone actually fully knows you? Being that you've been in so many different spaces and you've had to be different people for different people.
That's a hard question. I think I'm fairly transparent about the fact that I code switch, though.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm pretty straight up about it. It's also, like, you have to consider the fact that I am super white passing. I'm a no sabo kid, and, like, I grew up going to school with a bunch of, like, Catholic, Irish, Italian kids.
Yeah.
Then I went to school with a bunch of, like, richer, white, Irish, European,
like
Italian
same people,
kids.
just slightly different fonts.
Yeah.
My mom was just in italics.
Yeah, but also, no, because low-key, I'd say that the class difference was far more overwhelming than the race difference. Because I grew up also doing, like, a better chance and doing, like, scholarship programs where I was the only white kid and I was around, like, black and, like, very visibly Hispanic kids.
Yeah.
So I code switched with them as a kid, which I'm sure you had to do in some way as well. I think I was 2 different people, a lot more going through the process of applying to private school than when I actually got there. I think slowly I had to kind of give up on doing that because the code switching became so much more frequent in terms of like your daily interactions as opposed to like seeing two different groups of people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
No, but I
No,
also
what?
I don't think anyone fully knows me.
Do you
I
think
feel
that's like
that applies to everyone, like regarding the different phases of life they go through? You know, we just have felt it to a more extreme degree.
Yeah, right? Because I guess I'm thinking of like my friends in New York who've known the same people since they were 10 or 8.
I don't fuck with that shit.
And like the people you know since before puberty know you now, and they've seen all those different stages. Went to the same middle school, you went to the same high school, you probably go to the same college or community college now.
Oh yeah. I mean, those people I've seen you throughout your. I'm talking about us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Exactly.
It's like you see them once a year.
Yeah.
And it's like you get snapshots of each other.
Yeah.
It applies. It goes both ways. You know. Great chat.
Thanks.
I'm gonna go use the bathroom now.
Okay. Are you gonna shut?
Yeah.
Cool. So kind of like Bianca just said, I just wasn't able to float around all my different friend groups from New York the same way I was able to when I lived there, you know? I could float around online and keep in touch with a few and make artificial flavored plans. Like, to be honest, you're so sweet, but you moved right when we got close. Link soon.
Bruh.
Girl, we never link. We did never link. We never linked. So then I just started becoming this figure in everyone's mind that was easy to plug back into reality, but also equally as easy to tuck back into their memory when I was gone again.
Yeah, I was not being shady. Earlier, I would have said it to Lauren. I thought she was busy.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a lot of things. But passive aggressive is not one of them. I will say it.
And to be fair, like, I'm not even trying to be sentimental about it because I did the same thing with them, you know? Like, I'm not even trying to be like, oh, you guys forgot about me. Like, I had my own life too. But yeah, it got to a point where every time I would come back home, no one would really understand my experiences living in Connecticut. And then the preppy white kids that I went to school with had definitely no idea or understanding of what a Coco Mango Cherry truck was after school, or pulling up to the deli, like what that was like. And deeper inside, neither group really understood what it was like to spend every summer with Kika, your grandma in Venezuela, a place that you originally called home before College Point, Flushing, Queens became that home. Admittedly, the only person who was technically there the whole time was Mommy. Of course, my mom has seen me grow, but living in dorms since the age of 14, especially as a Latina in the United States, changed our dynamics a lot. Same with like my brother, like again, anyone else who didn't experience it with me didn't understand the things that I went through in Connecticut, the fun I had, the trauma I endured, the racism and bigotry and really weird ignorance that immigrant parents and families don't really understand unless it happens directly to them. And because she also didn't grow up in a New York City public school system, she didn't understand the survivalism of an NYC public school, the chaos and the excitement and the missing out. Like, obviously, I feel like regardless of where you're at, school dynamics are very similar across cultures and across places, but there's just something about the quickness of everything in New York that I think is unique to it, you know? And now being in St. Louis is like, girl, you went to Connecticut and now you're in St. Louis. Like, what the hell is in St. Louis? Like, now being here, obviously, and being cool with people and becoming friends with people who grew up here, you know, it's its own microcosm. But coming from New York, it's like, what are you doing over there? And so now it's a completely new dimension. Not only my people that I've known always asking me how St. Louis is, but then just this bombardment almost of St. Louis people asking me what it's like to be in New York. Like, oh, what's it like taking the subway? I'm gonna live in New York because it's too crowded and it's too many lights. Like, baby, you talking about Times Square? Baby, I live in Queens. For the longest time, I took pride in it. I took pride in being malleable and versatile enough to be able to live in so many places. Just be happy and grateful for all those experiences that has given me. But now it's like a bittersweet feeling, just because I don't think I belong anywhere, and I don't think anywhere belongs to me. The closest I could feel to anything is New York, but then again, like, I haven't lived there full time in 8 years. I'll work in the city and I know how to navigate myself, and I walk like a New Yorker. I carry myself as such. I'm not afraid of people. And in Miami, you know, I feel very connected to my Venezuelan heritage. But then it's also like anyone that I speak to who's Venezuelan or even Latina, it's like, ah, bueno, la gringuita. And it's like, you're right. I'm not offended, because there's obviously benefit in being an American, despite the shittiness that this country is at times. But there's benefit to being an American, especially amongst other Latinas or Latinos who want citizenship. But it's just weird to be super Latina in some places, or just non-white in general, or maybe too white and fair-skinned in some places, and then in other ones it's like, oh, but you're just too American. I'm just constantly in this limbo of identity that I've come to terms with. Like, that's not the part of myself that I don't know, but I think it's what brings this bout of loneliness sometimes. I don't really know anyone that shares my experience, you know? People find affinity in their communities, but because I've planted myself in so many different communities and so many different spheres and environments and settings, I'm like the only bridge to all of them in my life. And so navigating that's a bit lonesome, because no one knows how to travel to my other lands than me. I've been surrounded by some amazing people in my life, and I've experienced honestly more than someone can experience in a lifetime, and I'm only 21, about to be 22. It's amazing to be mutable though. It's truly some gifts to be able to find common ground with quite literally anybody. Like, you can literally drop me off in the middle of Bali in a village, which has happened to me, and I will find common ground and I will be able to have a conversation with someone for over an hour. You can drop me off in the middle of Times Square and I'm gonna know how to get home without a GPS or anything. You can drop me off in somewhere in St. Louis and I'll be able to connect with someone there, or know someone who knows somebody. You can drop me off in Venezuela and I may not know my land as much as I'd want to, but I will be able to connect with someone over something. As lonely as it might seem and feel sometimes, I might have double the amounts of places that I have a belonging in, or that belong to my awareness. I think just sometimes it would be interesting to see the depths that people see about me. Like, how deep do people know and acknowledge me here in St. Louis? How deep do people think they know me in New York? How well do people consider their relationship with me in etc. X place in the world? Just because I feel like there's so many different versions and levels to me that I might not even be aware of. Like, I swear, some people be telling me how, oh, I thought this about you, but then you actually were this. But I think that's the beauty of it, and like the game of it all, that like not everyone needs to know you in the same way. Not everyone needs to fully know you. Matter of fact, not everyone should fully know you. But should anyone fully know you? I don't know. I hope y'all can relate. This is a ramble video, very much me reflecting on my own, and maybe I'll relate, maybe I'll don't, but it's definitely 2:44. I need to sleep. You could tell my eyes are just... Peace, love, and pixie dust on the low.